be Brother Yusef Shakur. He's going to tell you who's going to be in that panel, and I'll kick it off. Thank you.
What up, though? Yo! And the right action to organize the panel is for us to look at the rich history of Detroit in terms of black labor, in terms of community activism, in terms of how religion, churches have played a crucial role and where we're at. To be on the foundation, as well as we need to look back to see where we're going forward. Many of us who are doing a lot of great things, but have no historical connection to the great things that already happened. And that's imperative if we're going to overcome this monster that's kicking our behinds. It's not even foolish, but we can win, we will win. So without further ado, I'd like to bring Khary Frazier. He's a hip hop artist in Detroit. Sorry, brother. Mr. Mohammad, Wayne Community College.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Elena, Herrada, Community Wachanga. Mr. Rahman. Roxanne.
Fundishi,
Thank you, man. That's it. You guys kind of give an introduction of who you are, take a couple minutes, and then we'll go into the question.
All right. First, I'm a friend of Yusef Shakur. He's definitely a soldier on the field, like I always tell him. He's always challenging me, challenging most of Detroit. And it's good to see his commitment from my neighborhood, really connected to. I'm a hip-hop artist. You can go to DetroitisDifferent.com. I really support the culture. I support the love of Detroit, and I'm going to be here.
I'm a father. I'm an artist. I have served as a minister and representative of Minister Louis Baraka in the state of Michigan.
Mike. Mike.
Y'all can't hear me? Is it on?
Mike's close.
Oh, okay.
Like a rap.
You got a rap.
Yeah, I'm doing that. Because we can do it like that.
Yeah.
Dawud, Mohammad. As I said, I'm a father. I'm an artist. I have served as a student minister of the Honorable Minister Louis Baraka, one of the chief organizers of the Million Man March 20 years ago in the city of Detroit, and organizing for Justice or Else 10-10-15 this year. And I think everyone in this room, I'm a Detroiter, and I love my city, I love our people, and I love what we represent, and I'm happy to be here.
That's right.
I'm Elena Herrada. I'm a member of the Detroit School Board in exile. I am part-time faculty at the Maryville Social Justice Program, and mother and grandmother, lifelong Detroiter, and an amateur oral historian of the Mexican elders in our community.
My name is Rahman. Lifelong political activist since I was a teenager and former political prisoner. And right now I'm a professor of African American and African history at the University of Michigan-Dearborn.
My name is Mpatanishi. I'm a child from Detroit. I don't remember seeing him in nothing. I ain't see him in no meetings. But I am from Detroit. I'm a student of Marge Bursey. I'm a student of Frank Diddle. So I'm here to talk some business. So we're going to talk about the history, how Detroit showed people how to do the community organizing work. Because the East Side voice of Detroit was one of the first organizations in this country that was multi-organizational. From Black Talk Radio, the Malcolm X Liberation School, Cato Clinic, Ghetto Speaks, the newspaper, and I know y'all remember Jim Ingram. I know y'all remember all these people who were very key in developing programs like we used to have over there at the, well, I can't remember the name right now. But a combination of so many different organizations at the Buffalo Family Center. You know, remember when so many groups came together at the Buffalo Family Center to begin to exchange information. What we, I'm a father and a grandfather of children in Detroit. So, yeah. Gotcha.
That fire came out, didn't it? That's what's up. That's what's up. That's what we're here for. So the first question we have, we look at the climate of where we're in presently in Detroit. We have a mixture of different folks up here looking at those who can look at it from a historical standpoint as well as tying it to now. Water shut off, closing schools, abandoning neighborhoods. I mean, you name it. There's growing our own food. There's multiple fights. Hip-hop was in there. The question for me is, in this climate, how do we pull that off under one umbrella in terms of respecting each fight, but how do we figure some way to work together? I know it's a lovely question.
I refer to the man sitting to my left.
I think part of the answer was in your question. We do have to respect one another, where we stand organizationally, where we stand philosophically. I think the important thing is sometimes you can't pull everybody under the same umbrella if it means always meeting in the same room or saying the same thing. We have to understand the more important thing that in a book I had when I was in my freshman year in college, the book was titled The Unity and Diversity of Life. It was a biology book. In true unity, there is diversity. Everybody doesn't have to speak the same language. Everyone doesn't have to necessarily use the same method or modality to get things done. Years ago, there was a man who I knew in Jefferson City, Missouri. He used to repair my shoes. When I would sit and talk with him, he was an elder. I learned more than the fact that he was a shoe repairman. That was his retirement thing he was doing just so he could be out of the house. He actually was very active in community activism in Ohio. He went back to Missouri to retire. And he shared with me how the civil rights organization he was involved in would strategically use the Nation of Islam as a threat to corporate entities. He said that's what they would do. He said we would tell them, if you don't really want to work with us on these community initiatives, that's all right, we'll go to Mr. Mohammad and they'll do it. And the corporate entities would say, oh, no, we'll do it. And I've heard that on more than one occasion. Not some I'm saying because I'm in the nation. You're saying that because you're Muslim. Notice what people told me. So I investigated it. Folk told me the same thing happened in Detroit and other parts of the country. Well, then I realized it wasn't simply the threat of the Nation of Islam. It's the fact that if there's an existing dichotomy within our community and it is respected, then you have strategic means by which to get things done. But if we're all in the same boat, on the same trip, the boat's going to get overloaded and it will sink. We have to learn to be strategically mature. I have often had to go to folk who are more inclined toward civil rights or more inclined toward a certain kind of language that people felt more comfortable with to get things done. There was a time, for instance, where in this city politically, if you were seen with Dennis Archer, you must be a sellout because it was determined he was a sellout. No, he was an elected official who failed to carry through an agenda we didn't empower him. And because we lacked the maturity to understand that, we wanted to put him in permanent exile, but what we didn't realize we were doing is setting up any black mayor that came after that not to respect that office. But now it has great respect because the white man is in office. I don't know anybody saying that. Well, I'll just say it flat out because the white man that's in office now, I met with him too. In private, at the mosque, in my office. And I was confronted by a pseudo leader in our community whose name I won't mention because it's not personal, principal. And he said, I heard you met with Mike Duggan. I said, the white man named Mike Duggan. It's okay if I say white or black, isn't it? Yes. Don't be that damn squeamish in this hour. Okay, I just need to speak straight words here. So when I met with him, you all may remember Tatum Eason. Yeah. And Tatum was a political strategist, and he worked with, and he done worked on both sides. Your favorite and who you hated, Tatum was a survivor, but he taught me the political game. And there is no permanent stakes in an individual, there are permanent interests. That's right. And if we can keep our permanent interest in front of somebody else, get them out of the way, get somebody else. Long story short, then it starts circulating that Dawud the sellout. I heard he met with Mike Duggan. At least this person had the courage to ask me, did you meet with him? I said, yes. He said, oh. I said, well, he sought my support in something, he didn't get it. You don't come and sit in the office and say, well, Farrakhan's an anti-Semite and I don't agree with that guy. So what are you expecting from me? That's the man who signed me to do the job I'm doing now. So you're going to condemn me what? You got a nickel you want to give me? Does my middle name look like Iscariot? You think I'm Judas? So of course that meeting didn't go well. I ain't cursed him out or nothing, but just told him I couldn't support him. The point I'm making is if we don't have the ability to move freely, but you know what that requires? That we trust each other. Yeah. And you know how trust comes about? Through interaction and working with each other and gaining trust through having each other's back and helping each other in need when necessary. And even if somebody condemns you and you know they've been dogging you, look past that, because if you attack your brother or your sister leading an organization, you undermine the movement of the people because you're stuck on an individual who'll be gone tomorrow, but the movement must go on. So you must protect black leadership at all costs. You don't excuse bad behavior, you just don't take the laundry out in the public and wash it. Yeah. We got to get out of this Phil Donahue, Jerry Springer, Oprah Winfrey-esque method of problem solving where you think everything needs to be in the public. I'm going to call you like I see it, so-and-so is a sellout. Well, if so-and-so never bought in, what do they sell out of? Which means that if we want to put people in office with our agenda, we need to groom them when they're in elementary school. We need to pay for their college education. We need to get them through law school. Then we need to empower them in office. And you don't have to tell them you owe us. They are so happy that people love them enough to steer their career. They will do it themselves. Ask Condoleezza Rice, who was taken and mentored by Madeleine Albright's daddy. Well, of course you knew that, right? No. Oh, okay. That's how they do. They look at our best and they go and groom it and take it from us. We need to groom our own and sacrifice money, time, and energy and stop beating up on each other over petty stuff and look at the bigger picture. That's how we can be able to
Thank you, Mr. Dawud. I want to say something particularly concerning the issue of water, and I see the panel you're talking about, right, organizing. There's been some kind of historical breakdown and understanding of the issue of protest. Marches, nonviolent marches, became effective relative to an event that took place in the 1700s, of the French Revolution. The French Revolution starts off as nonviolent marches. Unless we get bread, land, food, unless we get our rights, we're going to keep marching. They didn't get it, so it escalated. Because power is the ability to deliver consequences if your demands are not met. There was no power simply in marching. Because they started off marching, they didn't get what they wanted. They organized, eventually they cut off the head of the king and the queen of France. They got what they wanted. Now, in the African-American context, we look at nonviolent civil rights movement. We see that they were marching in the South, but we don't see that the context was during slavery they had laws that no more than 3 to 5 black people could congregate unless there was a white person present. So to march, and they still had these laws in the South that you could not congregate. So to have a march in Selma, Alabama, or Vicksburg, Mississippi, or Bogalusa, Alabama, anywhere, that disrupted the whole city. It disrupted the energy of the whole town. Because first of all, it was illegal. So when they had these marches, they had a great deal of effectiveness. We saw in the media how these marches were attacked and all that. Martin Luther King, and let me say, people assassinated Dr. King in 1963 on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial. He lived 5 more years. He had much more than a dream, but nobody talks about his plan. Dr. King said that nonviolent demonstrations are ineffective in the North. He came to Chicago in 1966, was hit on the head with rocks, and driven out of the city. He said that a nonviolent demonstration in the South disrupted the whole town. He said, but the energy in a large city in the North is so great that nothing is disrupted by a nonviolent demonstration. So he comes up with another plan called the Poor People's Campaign, which he said on April the 10th, 1968, in the thousands, we're going to go to Washington, D.C. We're going to engage in nonviolent civil disobedience. We're going to sit in front of the White House, Congress, and the Pentagon, and let nothing in and nothing out unless they deal with issues of poverty and war in America. He said this is what we're going to do. April the 10th, 1968. J. Edgar Hoover said that was a revolutionary act. Dr. King was assassinated exactly 7 days before that.
That's right.
Now, after his assassination, some of us are old enough to remember that people went to Washington, D.C. Did they do any of the things that Dr. King said? Have they ever done any of these people who always talk about they love Dr. King, have they, since he was dead, gone to Washington, D.C. and done any of the things Dr. King said to them? They have done none of them. None of them whatsoever. And similarly now, in the North, nonviolent demonstrations for water or for whatever will not be effective unless you are able to deliver consequences when your demands are not met. We can see that Dr. King had consequences, he said. He was going to deliver. The Black Panther Party, when we were here in this city, we had consequences we're going to deliver. Others have had consequences they're going to deliver. We ask, why is it that all of us are right? So many people have a right to water. Why is it that they don't get water? Why are they putting tens of thousands of dollars in water bills on poor people who can't afford to pay them? And everybody knows you're right. Everybody's seen you demonstrate. Everybody's seen you in the media, but nothing changes. Why? Because you have no consequences you can't deliver when your demands are not met. That was what the Black Power movement was about. Black power was the ability to have power, which means delivering consequences when your demands are not met.
I just want to say real quickly, the thing that we must be clear of is how do we organize our young people. By that, just piggybacking on some things I've heard here, we have to remember that organizations should be built around what young people identify are the issues and concerns in their particular communities, how those impact on them, and then ways they can carry out that work. Let me say something real quick on that. What I'm saying is, while they can look at the larger issues, they are looking at the short-term issue of how do I get to school safely? How do I get the kinds of supplies I need to get in school, to use within the school? How do I prevent the police from shooting and killing me on the way to school? All of these things are community organizations that can be formed around issues that young people have identified as their concern. Don't have to be a lot of people. The reason I'm saying that is in these small groups of young people, you begin to develop the type of leadership that will direct and determine what needs to be done in our work here. Now, for an example, I mean, we got in here in Detroit, but I want to cross the ocean for a minute, just real quickly, and remind us that nothing would have happened in South Africa if young people hadn't rose up in Soweto.
That's right.
And so the reason why I'm saying and raising Soweto as an example is it did not happen because a whole lot of young people were upset about any series of issues. They came together around the things that they were concerned about in small groups within Soweto. There were small groups who were concerned about the safety of the young women who went from homes within the community in Soweto. They were concerned about who had the books that were all who could sit in a group and study in Soweto. And the reason why I'm saying that is we miss this many times when we're thinking about what we should be doing. The issues that we identify as hard work, our young people have already decided on what they think is concerned, what is important. Now, what our job is to do is to show them there are resources that are out here that can support and aid you in carrying out those pieces of work. And in doing that, you develop a core group of people who are now prepared to expand and do other kinds of things. That is where they get their educational process. The educational process, I am sorry to tell you, does not come from Mary Grove or the University of Detroit or Michigan State University. That's not where the educational process of our children come from. The educational process of our children comes from the work that they do, carrying out, communicating to people, carrying out projects that clean the streets in their neighborhood, that grow food in their communities, that begin to re-educate them. The reason why I say that, I remember sitting here in this room, I was like, wow, to believe that I'm in Mary Grove College. And I remember how many times we came down 6 miles, didn't even realize there was a college up in here because it looked like a park, and they made sure that you didn't know what was going on in here. Now, I'm not saying everybody was like that in Mary Grove. I'm just bringing up the point. It was made clear to us how you get access to these things. Now, you get access to these things by developing a core group of young people who are concerned, or as Mary Ann Kramer called them, good gangs of young people. Young people who do shopping service for the elderly. We got elderly people that can't even go to the store because it ain't safe to go to the store. So the gangs like Marge Bursey developed in the Detroit Anti-Hunger Program, which began to train young people on how to go out and look at the prices of food, compare what's going on within these stores, what's not good food, what's bad food, and then let young people go learn how to communicate to their elders. These are the kinds of things that begin to, if you want to use the term, revolutionize young people in the process of them seeing that they themselves can make the decisions that change the course of their lives. Then they become the kind of leaders that we say that we need. When we talk about what's happening with the different things that are not going right in Detroit, which is one of the greatest centers for community organizing work in this country, Detroit, that's where it really began at, the kinds of community organizing work. When we started talking about what happened here, there was young people who were tired of what was going on. Now, I'm not saying that they did it all. Now, I'm not trying to make it sound like did nobody else do that. That's not what I'm saying to you. I'm saying that with the kind of support and direction to receive the resources that were necessary to aid them in carrying out their work, they learned how to carry those things out. I know because I started, believe it or not, as a kid. And as a kid, when I was told I had to set up a school, and I'm looking, I'm like, how am I going to set up a school? I'm uneducated. That's how you're going to get your education. I had to go from door to door on the east side of Detroit, and when I said east side, it doesn't even exist anymore. But I was on St. Jean and Mass. the Malcolm X Liberation School. Why was it called the Malcolm X Liberation? We knew people could relate to that. And so when they send their children, we could talk to them there. And as we talked to them there and began to politicize, and then they would go home and talk about what they learned. And the parents start coming out there. This is how you politicize community. As you politicize community, you develop a core group of people who have the capacity, the desire, and the capacity to make change. They've seen it happen with their own children. See, they saw their children as they went out and talked about Project Pride, which was a way of getting these cars off the street that was all broke up, tore up, and all this junk out. And the children did this themselves. We had to go. When the people didn't want to do it, we did it. And people said, you're crazy. But when we kept doing it, people saw we were serious. 2 or 3 more young people started doing it. And eventually, we began a thing called Project Pride, which of course was stolen by one of the big banks here. I can't think of the name of the bank. But the point I'm trying to raise with you is it's always when you give young people the opportunity, now I don't mean give them like, here's the opportunity, let them know that you're going to be supporting them with the resources to carry it out. And that's how you get some of this stuff done. You got a lot of work, but that's how you get some of it done.
Where to begin? Where to begin? I wanted, there's so many things that are coming to mind. I want to shout out to Victor Gibson, who never misses a school board meeting for Detroit Public Schools. And the next time, sometimes there's 5 people in the audience, and sometimes there's 1, sometimes there's nobody. We always have Victor Gibson, Helen Moore, the regulars at the Education Task Force that come to our regular school board meetings, even though we have no authority. We have no authority. As elected officials, we can't say the school is not going to close. It breaks our heart to see what happens. Victor Gibson, you would be brokenhearted to know that I'm talking to students, and I'm sure you know this, who never heard of Juneteenth, who don't know when the Civil War began. They don't know the dates in history that for so many years people worked so hard to get into a relevant curriculum in Detroit Public Schools, and it was actually the Detroit curriculum. All of that is gone. There is no curriculum now. There is no curriculum in Detroit schools. I want to make the connection that people need to understand that our young people in Detroit have gotten so violent that there's no way to go to a black party or a birthday party or anything else. And I hear kids say this, you come to my birthday party? No, I'm not coming because everybody's always getting shot. People do not want to go out. My own daughters didn't want to go out to certain places for Cinco de Mayo because it's so violent. There is a direct relationship to the closing of schools and the destabilization of public schools and the behaviors that we're seeing in these young people. They have no stability. They're going to different schools every year. They don't know the people. They move around. The school might close. They get evicted. They're coming out of shelters. They're living in ways that we could never have imagined living in Detroit. We lived such stable lives in Detroit because everybody had work. People didn't move all the time. Now people move. No one starts and finishes in the same school year in most of the schools in Detroit. Very few people are starting school in September and finishing it in June, much less 4 years later or 3 years later. They're not finishing a whole year in any school. This is what's really happening. The schools have lost track of the children. That's why they're found in freezers, and it's amazing that that doesn't happen more. It may be happening more. We don't know because nobody looks for them. There's so many lost children. And I don't want to say that on a really despairing note, but I want to apprise you of the situation. It's not like people suddenly got bad or suddenly lost their way. Everything has been pulled out from under our communities. Water, lights, housing, shelter, public education, everything has been pulled out from under us. So what do? There's lots of different things. You can go to a meeting every single night in Detroit. You could go to a meeting, and sometimes I go to all of them, sometimes I don't go to any of them. There's Monday night, you got moratorium. On Wednesday, you got Detroit Resisting Emergency Management. On Saturday mornings, you got the National Action Network. There's something every day. That's just the ones that I try to go to, at least occasionally. But on Thursday evenings, there's a group of people at Dexter and Davison. You can't see them because it's pitch black out there. money and get them some pizzas, and there is a movement going there. It's a movement for children to demand that the lights come on. They totally get that. There's lots of people going out there and doing all these different things. Of course, the water people are out there canvassing every single day. We're over there trying to raise hell about the schools, talking to ourselves, being ignored. There's so many different things. I brought these flyers for this one demonstration about everything, which is taking place on August the 29th. But just to say that although things are very, very dispersed, there's a lot of different things going on. I don't know that it's necessary for everybody to come together on these different movements because it's easier to get picked off if you're just alone. When there's all these different things going on, you can just find another one. You can find your place in things. Something I never thought in my whole radical life that the work that I'm doing is to try to restore the PTA. It's become a subversive group. Yeah, PTAs have been outlawed in Detroit Public School and replaced with the Detroit Parent Network. The voice of parents has been silent. Don't start. Don't start. Okay? The Detroit Parent Network is on the payroll of Skillman, and we can't get parents to complain because they'll get replaced and they'll take away the goodies that they get. So if we have people that are getting paid, we lose our way. We lose our way on so many things. I'm not trashing people that get paid, elected officials that get paid. But if people have authority, please act like you've got some authority. Act like you have the power that you still have in your office. We on the school board, we never will give up. They'll carry us off. They're going to carry us off. And when they do, I hope somebody comes up behind and takes our seats and won't give up our elected seats. We have nothing left here. We have to fight. We have to fight. I'm going to finish just by saying we voted to get rid of Public Act 4. We got rid of the emergency manager law.
Right.
We got an emergency manager in Detroit Public Schools that is not going away. And when he does, he's going to be replaced by the Coalition for the Future of Detroit Contractors, which they call the Future of Detroit Children. The Coalition is going to replace the school board. We will not be empowered if Snyder has his way. If Duggan has his way, we will not be re-empowered. They don't want that African curriculum back in the schools. They don't want stabilization of the schools. They got other plans for these buildings in these neighborhoods. Our building, 77 school buildings were given to the city for $3 million for multi-purpose. What the hell is multi-purpose when we had schools? We had a singular purpose for these schools, and we're going to pay for them until 2039. But contractors, rich real estate agents can come in here and take buildings. They sell them. It would be like if I took this from you and sold it to him. And it's yours, and I keep the money. Okay. That was his. That was ours. People are selling off our goods, our property, but the greatest detriment is to these children who just get shuffled from one place to the next. They go in the EAA, they sit in classes that they already had in 9th grade and they're in 12th grade. You know why? Because they need a warm body in that seat. So students are graduating, repeating classes that they already had because that was the teacher that was available. There's been so many crimes against these children. I'm going to ask people to really, really stay in touch. I know it took too long. On the school issue, I want people to really, really follow up what's happening. You can Facebook me, Facebook the School Board in Exile. Keep it up with us because we're going to we have to take our schools back in order to take our children back.
That's right.
Wait, you talk about hip-hop, which is young folks. But in terms of just the music in general, man, when that voice is left out, and we know that's the voice of the youth.
All right, first I want to say, this is talking about organizing. As you can see, our city is a city with many and different struggles. Even at the beginning of the last question, I mean, you look at everything we heard from this panel, it's many fronts to fight on. And then there's many ways to look at the challenges we have. There's many ways to approach it. Sometimes I think that the fight, like I say, I think Yusef has a lot of fight in him. My friend David Bullock, he has some fight in him. At times, my cousin Myra, she has some fight in her. But I think some of the thing that's unique about Myra is as much as it's fight, it's also love. You know, she is an instructor at the School of the Performing Arts. which is Detroit Public School. And then you see the way she interacts with the students. That's how I love her. Sometimes the way she interacts with some of the fights and the struggles on behalf of the students, that's the fight. So I think a balance is needed, especially when we talk about hip-hop. As I was sitting right before this, I was talking with Tawana, and I forgot the brother's name that I was talking with too, but he does security with the Fruit, and I do a lot of different hip-hop shows. But my show is so different than most of the rap shows I do. So some of the rap shows I do where I do welcome in a lot of music that's taken out of context. One of them is this big rapper now. Her name's Cash Doll. She was a stripper, and now she's a rapper, and she's like really famous. I say she's probably the most famous rapper from Detroit right now. And we were doing a show with her, and what was so funny is her manager was like, I don't know if we need to do this show in September with Cash Doll. I don't know. She doesn't want to do the show with you, but we can still do some business together. And I was like, all right, well, maybe I'll do a record release party with my friend David Bullock. And she was like, well, isn't he controversial? And then I was like, okay, so a stripper that now is a rapper whose audience is basically high school students is not controversial. But a pastor that fights for people to have water and for people to have lights against white supremacy and against the Confederate flag is controversial. You know, and this is a black woman that, you know, I have some necessary respect for. And it kind of goes back to what Dawud was saying, that like, that's where I'm trying to go with culture and love right now. And hip hop needs a lot of context. It needs a lot of culture and a lot of love, because most of these hip-hop situations, just because there's so much weight on these guys' shoulders, because it's mental. You know, one of the toughest things, even with activism, is the same way. A lot of people question, what is he doing? What is he doing? Somebody was asking me today, what's Yusef doing? I don't understand. What is he doing? What is he doing? Whereas I really think that a thought is the strongest action you can ever have. It always starts with a thought. So if we're not thinking straight, we're not able to move the right way. And a lot of the people in the battles that we're going against, their thoughts are in line on one mission. Even as twisted as that mission may be. It's like it's a steamroll mission. And some of us were so strained with so much struggle. We look around, especially when you talk about young people being in line. Some of the stuff, when I dealt with interacting with high school students, some of the things that they deal with every day, like even for them to think about learning something, it's tough. When you try to think about what they're dealing with in the household. Because the young people are just an extension of the old people. As I always say, imagine if you took that same high school and gathered all their parents for 8 hours a day. And they had to sit around and talk about history, math, and science. It'd probably be a lot more school shootings. You know, you get on the lodge, and if you're not going the same rate of the traffic, it could be a shooting any day, you know? So, like, we think about this anger, this tension, and this fear we have against each other, and I think a lot of that is the thought. We got a lot of trauma going on in our community, and hip-hop is an extension of that. So much of that pain, when you think of this stuff out of context, you know, of not understanding so much of what has happened, hip-hop is an expression of that. The bad thing is it's out of place. Nobody's really saying, okay, the brother feels like this because he feels as though it's a lot of pain he's experienced from his mother. So, excuse my French, every woman I meet now is a bitch or a hoe because I've never felt love from a woman. So I don't know how to interact with that. So if a woman comes at me where I think she could love me, that's too painful to deal with, so she a hoe. And that's how a lot of these young guys feel. And when they can't put things into the right way, when they haven't met somebody like Michael, when they haven't met somebody like Tawana, to say, look, man, stop dealing with all that pain. You got love here. Love is something you should embrace. They can't even conceptualize it. So when we think about how to organize, how to get young people involved, how to talk to hip-hop artists, how to get hip-hop involved in what things are going, I think the first thing we have to do is say, okay, whatever you want to rap about that. And then challenge them to say, why is that your song? Why does this make sense to you? Why do you think as though selling heroin is the best way of being a success? Why do you feel like being a millionaire is something that is successful? Why do you even talk about things like that, like as if this is something to speak about? Why is that success? Why is money success? Why is a fast car success? Why is new clothes success? Why do you want diamonds? What does that say? What does that that mean? If you start challenging and drilling down in hip-hop, you'll get deeper into the love that they really could have expressed. You can get deep down into the joys that really could exist in our community. And it's so much talent, it's so much skill, it's so abundant. I see so much love, we don't value ourselves. And it's painful. That's what's so painful about Detroit. Detroit is one of the few places where every time I come to any panel, somebody's like, oh, you didn't know? Somebody from the city of Detroit admitted to and it's like, seriously? You know, it's like, oh, you know, the first black man from Detroit, and, you know, you become a Detroit black historian just from doing a lot of this. You know, somebody pulls you to the side and say, hey, brother, did you know that in Kettering High School, the first printing press for high school students? And he's like, seriously? You know, I can straight up tell you. And he's about to tell me. He went there.
Serious printing program.
Had a real printing press program where it's like, okay, the people from the printing press were connected to Wayne State. Wayne State had this black program where some of the best writers in the world went through that program. And you'll be sitting there like, okay, one second. Right in KE, where I'm thinking that's just the east side. You know, I'm thinking about the Indigo Ballroom. And it was a printing press going on down the street. And we don't necessarily value these things. We don't value so much of the pride, so much of the spirit, so much of the love, so much of the joy. And it's almost on the flip side. Now trauma happens and we're saying like, oh, yesterday one guy died, that ain't good. 5 people died over here, so that's more important. You know, my mama got cancer, or my whole family died of diabetes, so you ain't dealing with nothing. It's like, okay, one second, why are we trying to look at though trauma as just something to top, as just something to experience? We need to look at whatever somebody's going through, because that's really what I think affects the children the most, because they're trying to go through this and look at it and starve for that attention, because that's what makes the kid want to rap. If they're starved for the attention. I know every time that I wanted to hit the stage, there's some attention I'm looking for. My cousin can speak to it a whole lot more at the School of Performing Arts. So the girl that's stripping, she wants attention. The guy that's rapping with pants sagging down to his ankles, he obviously wants attention. The guy that has a tattoo on his face, because I know a bunch of rappers, I probably have like, I don't know, 30 people with tattoos on their face. So the first question I want to ask is like, okay, why would you put a tattoo on your face? But that's starved for attention. So think about the attention that he's not paid to say himself to say, let me put my 7 Mile on my cheek. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, this is real life. This is real life. You know? This is something that, Instagram is another way to connect with young people too, because it's imagery of it. So just follow a kid's Instagram. If you have a son or a daughter, you don't even necessarily follow their Instagram, but follow who they're following on Instagram. And then ask, okay, why would you follow this person? It's funny. It's like, what's funny about that? Right. You know? That's my 2 cents on that.
So that was awesome information that they dropped on us for me from Fundishi. I may not pronounce the name word, but he hit the nail on the head in terms of we have to have boots on the ground. From the masses to the masses. If we're not organized around the immediate needs of the people, why are we doing it? That's the question that we ask ourselves. In terms of Rahman, are we challenging the system? Are we fighting for power? Are we fighting, or is basically, are we fighting for a good position on the plantation, or are we trying to get off the plantation? And a lot of us are fighting for a good position on the plantation. And we have to begin to put forth, as Elena talked about, what's the correct analysis around the work that we're doing, and willing to sacrifice, willing to put forth our heart within this. And as Dawud talked about, the importance of principle. I mean, there's a lot of people like, man, you said you're so extreme, you're going hard. My principles demand of me is that serious. And that's if I disagree with you, I'm disagreeing principally. Like, we can work religiously, we can work that out. Ideology, we can work that out. But when it comes to principle, we ain't working that out. You know, when you cross that line, if I cross that line, if I stole from you, if I lied to you, that's a line you don't cross. We don't compromise our principles. We adapt our ideology for the greater good of the people. And as Khary talked about, it's imperative that we love ourselves. And loving ourselves, we have to have self-care. And self-care, because this work is very hard. I mean, it takes to be full-time in doing this work. Why you being a full-time father? Why you being a full-time everything our people demands of us being full-time. So let's give our panel another round of applause. Call Mohammad, we're going to call it the next time.
I think it's vital to say this. I mentioned the 20th, it's not simply the 20th anniversary of the Million Man March. It is 20 years later, we're gathering again for justice or else. One of the things that's very important to consider as we talk about the woes that we have in Detroit, folk got woes in Ferguson, folk got woes in Baltimore, folks got woes in Cincinnati, LA, and so on. One of the things that's happening now that's profoundly beautiful in the face of all of this pain is that our people are growing their nervous system back.
Yes, sir.
We had lost the ability to feel the pain of what was happening to other folk.